Sean Combs relied on employees, resources, and influence to his multifaceted business and empire to lead or led to control over these individuals.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Just ain't real life street stars. You know what time it is.
You know, when you hear that Diddy had Lauren London while she possibly was with Nipsey, what's your take on that? Like, I don't know if you're a fan of Nipsey or not, and I know
I am.
He had his ups and downs with Lauren, but he loved this queen. To hear that, like, in this trial comes out that possibly Diddy allegedly was with Lauren around the time of Nipsey, like, how do you take to that? Like,
I don't, man. I mean, look, man, everybody, I'm sorry, but I'm a firm believer in grown people do what grown people want to do.
hey,
I don't have a judgment. I'm not in the room. I'm not part of it. Grown people do what grown people want to do. And I don't know everyone's situation. And so it's really hard for me to interject myself in that's more for your celebrity news.
yeah. You gotta jump in there. You gotta jump in there.
Yeah. So that's not really my thing to jump into that. I would hate that if it was something that interfered with their relationship because of that. I would hate for that to have happened because I think they made a great couple. But if you want to talk about jumping in and out of relationships, let's go back to the Sean Combs with Miss Ventura and her relationships. That evidence came back in and was discussed about Michael B. Jordan and all these relationships she had. But at the same time, I think it was a situation where she was in a relationship, and I think her name is Gina.
Okay, yeah.
Who Sean was also seeing, or Ms. Ventura found out he was in a relationship with while they were separated.
Yeah.
And so that's going to lead into, was she really trafficked, or did she really have that underlining mental issue, or I'm not say issue, but the captive mentality? Because you're on a date with Michael B. Jordan, or you're in a relationship with Michael B. Jordan, and you hear about Sean on a date, or you see something on social media, him with another woman, and you get upset about it. You're not together. That starts leaning into a jury probably saying, okay, what do we have here? What is really going on? Was this what the defense is saying? Is this just a very violent, argumentative relationship? Because I'm expecting the defense to put on witnesses to say that Ms. Ventura was also violent toward Sean Combs. Don't hate me.
Yeah.
Don't hate me.
Don't hate him.
But I would doubt that they don't have a witness who would come in and say that, because that's going to play into, this was just their relationship. They were violent, argumentative, sexually explorative individuals. While that's not what you and I do, that's not what the jury does, that's not what they do, that's not what he or she does, but this is what they did, and that's not a crime.
Mm. Now, they say that in order to convict of the RICO, you only have to have 2 of the 8 charges put against them to give it a RICO. So whether extortion, kidnapping, arson, whatever it is, they got to get 2 of the 8 charges. So with Ventura, and not only that, but also, you hear about Kid Cudi, you have arson, you hear about kidnapping, you hear about,
Can I pause you right there?
Please.
And I want you to continue to go. But so on the arson, speculative. No hard evidence that he actually committed it or ordered it other than through Capricorn. The thing with the gun, right? She says he came in with the gun in his hand and he said, let's go kill or get him. and she got up and she left. I haven't seen the transcript. On this one, but to all accounts of what took place in this, he came in with a gun and he said, "Let's go." I don't really recall any testimony or anything saying that he basically pointed the gun at her, told her, "If you don't come with me, I'm going to kill you," or any of those things. And so I'm pretty sure toward the end, the defense is going to say he might have come in angrily. He might have come in, even if he came in with a gun, it wasn't directed toward her. It wasn't directed. She just so happened to be the person who knew where he lived, right?
Right.
So he came and got her because you work for me. Now, I said early on that they were going to potentially get him for a RICO on everything but the sexual sex trafficking, even though they still have it with the flying in of the escorts or the dancers. But I said it was going to be most likely the drugs, because they've laid down the foundation that everyone that was, or better yet, Ms. Ventura and Sean Combs liked to do drugs, and they had their assistants go out and buy the drugs. They gave them cash to buy the drugs. And so now you have this enterprise of really drug trafficking, right? You have your employee using them as a mule. You have a corporate entity. So now you are the head of this organization and they work for you, and you're telling them to do things that are illegal. And so there's several things that were done that were illegal. People talk about the cash for the baby oil and the sex toys versus using the company credit card. I'm not really that hell-bent on that being that big of a deal. If I go on a legal trip and I'm doing something for a case, if I'm not eating lunch during that case, right? If I'm not in a courtroom, if I'm not in a law office doing something like working on that, if I wanted something outside, for example, I wanted a bag of chips, or I wanted something that really didn't have anything to pertain to the case, I'll pay for that myself, right? I'm not charging that to a client. I'm not adding that to the corporate bill as far as something that pertains to me personally. I'm not putting a stick of gum on the corporation.
But 300 bottles of baby oil, cash, or we're going to use the bad boy account to, I mean.
No, that's still, you love that baby oil. But
no, I mean, I'm just look at it as, because they're going to try to find the footprint of where that money, to show like, oh, we have the receipts, we have, here goes the bank drafts of
but
the
it was
baby.
Cash. But it was
cash. A lot was cash.
A lot of it was cash. You know what? I actually had something to read to the
please.
To the indictment. When we talk about the indictment, the government must prove that the defendant abused, threatened, or coerced women and others around him to fulfill sexual desires, conceal his conduct. Sean Combs relied on employees, resources, and influence mostly to his multifaceted business and empire to lead or led to control over these individuals, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, obstruction of justice. And so those things, that obstruction of justice, potentially paying off witnesses and trying to keep people from testifying, and then the kidnapping portion of it, but also the forced labor. We need to talk about that because that is a crucial part of it. Anyone who's worked for anyone at a high level knows that there are some cases where you work more than 7 days straight. And so that's going to be interesting to talk about.
Okay, definitely. Thank you for that. That's why we have you here, the education of it all.
Shout out RealLyfe Street Stars, nigga. Move. Hey.